Good morning, it's Tuesday the 28th of September. I'm Tom Elliott and this is my market report. Well, Wall Street had a fantastic night on Friday and our stock market was up very strongly yesterday, up almost 1.7%. Today it's down a few points. Wall Street fell about 0.4% overnight, but many people are now saying that the prospect of a second recession, or what they call a double dip recession in the US, has diminished considerably. In fact, Steve Jobs at Apple said just that. That's obviously good news for the global economy because it's very hard for the global economy to recover unless the US economy does so as well. Now, Telstra shares were up a couple of cents today against the overall direction of the market. The company's got a big investor briefing coming up, and I think it should be and will be well attended by shareholders, anxious shareholders who want to ask some pretty fundamental questions of senior management. What are the negotiations with the government over the NBN doing? Is the deal that was announced before the election actually going to occur? The company also said today in one newspaper that a lot of the complaints about customer service were customers' fault and not the company's fault. I don't think that's the sort of attitude that would go down well with either customers or with shareholders. Telstra's got a big task ahead of it, and one of the most important things that shareholders want to know is will the company's very large fully franked dividend of 28 cents a share, which is now a 10.5% yield before franking credits, will that be maintained into the future? We'll know more in a couple of days' time. The gold price continues to hit new highs. It touched $1,300 an ounce overnight. Currently it's about $1,294. Now 1,300 an ounce isn't just a recent record, it's a record for all time in human history, at least as long as we've been recording the value of gold against US dollars. And unsurprisingly, gold stocks have been very strong. Of course, Newcrest Mining recently took over here. Andean Gold has been bid for by a US company, a Canadian company called Goldcorp, and people are predicting that second-tier players like Kingsgate and Perseus are now takeover targets. The IPO or float market looks like hotting up. Now, there have not been any decent IPOs of any size for some time. Of course, 6 months ago we had both Myer and Kathmandu listing, but both of those stocks are trading well below their issue prices. In Kathmandu's case, they've had a profit downgrade in the interim period, which is never good. But as everybody would have seen if you've watched television or opened the newspaper recently, QR National is going to float soon, and this will be the litmus test for the IPO market. If it lists at it doesn't have to be a big premium, but any sort of premium to what the issue price is, then you will see more IPOs coming. Investors will feel like they can put money into them. If, however, it doesn't go particularly well, then the IPO door will close shut. Now, the one thing I have heard is that retail investors who pre-register for a prospectus may get a discount of as much as 10% as the price that's offered to institutional investors, and that alone could be enough to ensure a stag profit on day one. Finally, in property trust land, well, Stockland had made a lowball bid for Even, which is a retirement living operator. The first bid was $1.50. The company's board rightly said that this was too far below the company's NTA of around $2.06. Stockland had come back and said, no, we don't agree with $2.06. We think $1.80 is the correct price. And in fact, the board of Even was had to roll over and accept that that's probably the best price it will get. The $1.80 included a 3 cent a share dividend, which has now been paid. So the stock and the bid are at $1.77, and I think that's the best price that Stockland shareholders are going to get. Having said that, there's a lot of people saying that other retail trusts like the greatly troubled Centro could indeed receive bids, and indeed we saw during the week that an offshoot of Colonial First State has raised over $500 million to buy the troubled DFO, a retail empire. So stay tuned. I'll be back next week for another market report.